Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today we're here to consider the nomination of Brian Bedford to be the administrator of the FAA. I want to welcome the families here from Flight 5342. As I said to you yesterday, I don't want to meet more people like you. I don't. But I thank you for the fact that you, just like the Colgan Air families, just like the Max Crash families, are the people who are giving a backbone to the FAA to do its job. Thank you for being here at this markup. We also are going to consider 5 bills that address protecting children online, ensuring fair U.S. representation at the World Anti-Doping Association, establishing a Commercial Space Advisory Committee, reducing critical infrastructure manufacturing vulnerabilities, protecting marine mammals while creating increased economic opportunities for Alaska Native artists, the Children and Teens Online Privacy Protection Act by Senators Markey, Schatz, Capito, Klobuchar, Lujan, and myself would strengthen online privacy protections for children and teens. The bill would expand the definition, personal information, to include sensitive data like geolocation information, biometric information, and finally, the bill would revise current actual knowledge standard to actual knowledge, or knowledge fairly implied. This is a very important change, and I think will add a lot more protection to children. Overall, these changes will protect kids and make it easier to hold violators accountable. The Restoring Confidence in the World Anti-Doping Agency Act from Senators Blackburn, Capito, Wicker, Blunt, Rochester, and Lujan, and accountability and independence at the World Anti-Doping Agency, as well as fair representation in the United States. In the absence of reform, the bill grants the U.S. the option to withhold dues without payments from WADA. As a part of consideration of this bill, we wanted to ensure that the international games are fair, and Senator Moran and I offered a transportation assistance for the World Cup Cities Act. These are cities like Atlanta, Boston, Dallas, Kansas City, LA, Miami, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Seattle, San Francisco, Salt Lake City, and Oklahoma City, and is endorsed by the U.S. Soccer Federation, U.S. OPC, and U.S. Travel. And while this didn't make it into a final bill, I'm hoping that the chairman will be working with us to look at this issue in July, because it's critically important for millions of fans who will be visiting 11 cities throughout the FIFA Cup and the Los Angeles Olympics and Paralympics. So I appreciate Senator Cruz saying that he will work with us in July to get us feedback on this legislation. I also want to thank the Space Advisory Committee Act for Senator Peters and Wickers to establish a 15-member federal advisory committee to provide industry input on space activities. The Critical Infrastructure Manufacturing Feasibility Act by Ernst and Blunt Rochester, that the feasibility of domestically manufactured materials for critical infrastructure. And finally, the Artists Act from Senators Sullivan and Murkowski would allow for the sale of Alaska Native handcrafts and clothing outside the state of Alaska. Importantly, this bill does not authorize any additional take of marine mammals. Instead, it allows the sale of handcrafted products that are already being produced in Alaska to be sold outside the state, thus increasing economic opportunity for Native Alaskan families. The Coast Guard nominees, I'd like to recognize Commander Alan Rosenberg, who was nominated for promotion of captain, and Commander Rosenberg's wife, Commander Michelle Rosenberg, who was stationed in my office for 2 years and is still known for her leadership during the ballast water debate. Very proud if members remember that. This is a committee issue for decades, ballast water, that we finally got resolved, so very much appreciate her on that. On final nomination of Brian Bedford, nominated to serve as the administrator of the Federal Aviation Administration. He has been the president, CEO of Republic Airways, one of the largest regional carriers in North America, and is responsible for ensuring 2.9 million passengers. And the FAA is responsible for the safety of 2.9 million passengers and 45,000 flights a day. Today, the FAA, I believe, faces an incredible, challenging environment. I'm spending, as I said, too many times with families who've lost loved ones, and too much time on the phone practically every day with the NTSB or the FAA. We need an air traffic control system that is comprehensive and upgrades. I look forward to working with both the Secretary and the Chairman on those issues. New technologies, staffing shortages need to be addressed in an FAA that has the capacity to grow with the demand that we are facing. The agency must tackle safety gaps and contributed to the tragic collision near DCA that took lives of 67 people and prevent future accidents. Yesterday, the NTSB met to ensure safety recommendations to address the critical challenges facing the aviation manufacturers that are coming off production lines at the highest safety and quality standards that we need to make sure are implemented. The Alaska Flight 1282 incident is a serious reminder of the FAA's need for a proactive, not reactive, oversight approach. The FAA needs an administrator who will be a strong cop on the beat. Unfortunately, I do not believe Mr. Bedford answered the Senate questions when we gave him various chances to ask how he would approach this job. Mr. Bedford, over decades, attacked the 1,500-hour rule as a pillar of modern aviation safety, and that we believe is a framework after the 3407 Colgan flight, and was given multiple chances to state for the record. But instead, he clearly would not commit to weakening the 1,500-hour rule. So for this and many other reasons, I'm not going to support Mr. Bedford's nomination, and I will put the rest of this in the record, but we clearly need to change the FAA in aggressive oversight and an administrator who will lead that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.